I mean, when I was laid up for a short time, boy, the cards those kids made were just fantastic, and Jen delivered them to the house, and boy, the kids are missing you. I said, okay, it gives me a good feeling to know. And then Vicki started a Jenner Reader program too this last year. The principal, Craig Konitzko, came to her and said, you know, we've got about 30–40% of our kids in 2nd and 3rd grade that can't read. How do we bring them forward if they can't do this now? So we've got a program now where I think we had up to 10 or 12 volunteers last year, and they come in during the kids' lunch hour. The kids will bring their lunch in here, and we sit and read while they're eating their lunch. And it's amazing how relaxed they become after about 2 or 3 times. And Vicki said at first, how do we choose who goes with who? And I said, you don't. You let us sit around. You let the kids gravitate to us, and they'll match us to who they want. We don't match ourselves to them. And they did. They kind of walked in a little bit apprehensive because it was new to them, and looked around. Vicki says, well, you pick your helper. And every one of them looked around, and they started moving towards who they thought they wanted. And I had a little boy by the name of Tony. Oh, he hated reading. He did it, but he hated reading. But he could tell me the stories like you wouldn't believe. I mean, real stories. I said, why don't you write them down as a book? No, I don't want to write a book. I said, Tony, these stories are wonderful. I said, somebody else would like to read your stories. That somebody that likes to read would read that story. Well, the next year, 2nd year when we had it last year, he came in the door, he looked around, he's, there you are, I want her. And he took off during the summer. He changed. That kid could read, couldn't believe it, and he couldn't wait to read because then he got to go take his tests. And he's a very competitive person. I could tell that because their teacher puts, like Thanksgiving, for instance, that time of the year, fall time, she had turkeys with their name on them, and every time they passed a test of a book they read, and they have to do it on the computer, they got to have another turkey put on the board. And he was pretty much ahead for most of the year. So I know he's very competitive. But he got to like what he was doing. And then I had a couple of others where I had to share 2 kids at a time and find the next one was absolutely total opposite, where they couldn't even read. They could read Brontosaurus, but they couldn't read the. They could not remember the little words. But the great big words that had kind of a rhyme to them, they could pick them up right now. So that was a challenge. And if you would have them go back and read, say I would read a chapter with one of the little girls and say, okay, let's go back now, we'll read it again and see what you remember. She didn't remember. She still stumbled on those same words. I mean, it frustrates me because I think I should have gone to school for this so I would know how to pull it out of her better than I'm doing. But I'm too old now to go back to school. It would not pay for me to do that. Be in debt $100,000 at 73 years old, are you kidding me? No, I'd never recoup it. So I just try to do what I can do and hope I can make a difference when she goes back into the classroom or goes home where nobody's reading with her, or maybe they get frustrated. Parents sometimes will because you want so much for them and they're not bringing it out, and they don't know how to tell them either. You can't blame parents sometimes because they're not educated enough either to know how that brain is functioning in there and why. So it's a puzzle, but we're having fun with it. And we're bringing in people that said, well, You know, I don't know if I have time for that. I said, just give them an hour, just 1 hour on a Wednesday. And they come in and they like it. Well, it's interfering with my golf, you know. I said, well, you can golf tomorrow. They smile.